I think your brand story is extremely important, especially in today's world with like how big social media is. You want people to like see your brand and understand what you do, who you serve, the problem you solve for people, and then the outcome that's provided by that. And I feel like our social media does a pretty good job. And our logo alone, you can kind of see it and get a general idea of what we do.
Well, welcome to The Real Deal, where real estate meets real life. I am your host, Janine Igliani, with our co-host, Ryan Hatcher.
What's up, guys?
And this is actually episode 79, and our guest today is Dallin with Flamingo Pools, and I'm going to read you just a little blurb about Dallin. So Dallin started his pool cleaning business 6 years ago when he was 21 with no money, just a pole, a net, and a brush. By spending as much time on the business versus in it, you've been able to grow to 7 figures in yearly revenue with 15 plus employees. And now you spend a lot of your free time working with other service business owners looking to grow. That's awesome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So we'd love, as we were kind of talking about before we started, we'd love to hear your story, where you grew up and kind of how you came to be into the pool business. So share that with us.
Yeah. So, born and raised in Gilbert, Arizona, here locally. And
which, by the way, is one, like, I feel like it's getting more common, but it's still really rare, right?
That you're from here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everyone I meet came from somewhere else.
Totally.
So yeah, born and raised here, and never really wanted to start a business. Like, that was never even a thought of mine growing up. So I was just I love sports. I was like, I want to do something with sports. So that was kind of like my idea, to go through college doing that. Did a little bit of traveling, started community college. And I loved the social aspect of school growing up, but I was just never a good classroom learner. That was never my style.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again. That's another side note, because most entrepreneurs were not good students.
Yes, that was me.
So I think to anybody that struggles in school, embrace it.
There's hope for you, right?
There is hope. You could go on and make millions.
Yeah. So started community college, and just here in Chandler, Gilbert, and there wasn't much of the social aspect to it as you would get a university. And I was also just struggling with just the school and learning aspect there. So I was this just is not for me. I need to figure something else out. And then someone recommended that I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's what kind of just
we love that book.
It's awesome, right? Yeah, it just kind of opened my eyes. It's funny because it's more like a real estate book.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm sure you guys love that, but it just opened my eyes to the possibilities of what you could do with your life.
I would attribute that single book to almost a revolution in my mind for me. Just understanding that there's a whole nother set of rules that people play by that I didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Okay, totally random, but we should totally do a book club for high schoolers around that book.
That would be cool.
And then bring in different people that have read it, that have been impacted by it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and reread it too, to kind of, I'd love to see okay, what was it? Because I've talked to a lot of people who have the same experience. What is it about this book that just kind of opens your mind to all these new possibilities? Because it's things that you just have no idea, or even for me at least.
What was it for you?
I just thought that everyone kind of did the same thing. You pick a different job, but then you just kind of follow the same path of work, X amount of years, come home at 5 o'clock, get your 2 weeks of vacation, retire it. I mean, they say 60, but now it's 78 or whatever, right? And then just try to live off that retirement. But
I think too, that really goes to just our educational system kind of sets you up for that.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody does the same thing, this is how everybody should learn. This is the kind of job everyone should have, and doesn't give you the opportunity to really think outside the box.
Right.
And I feel that book, and if you have an entrepreneur mindset, does that. It opens up your mind to what other options are out there.
Yeah, the school system is designed to make employees.
Right?
Right.
Cogs in a big wheel.
Yeah.
Right? I'm curious though, specifically, can you remember anything that really just hit you from that book?
That's a good question. I mean, because I'm trying to remember.
I'll tell you for me.
Yeah.
The cash flow quadrant, just the mentioning of that and learning because he highlights that, but then he has another book about that.
Yeah, I was going to say that book is really good as well.
But just understanding that 95% of the wealth is held by 5% of the people in our country. Yeah. So, and then seeing which side the E's and the S's are versus the B's and the I's and what those mean.
Right.
It was eye-opening for me. I had no idea.
Yeah. I think along with that is just, I can't remember a specific quote, but just like the idea of freedom that book presents, of like, oh, I can have freedom of time, freedom of, choice, do what I want, do it where I want, do it how I want, which I never really thought was much of an option growing up.
So just yesterday, this came up with my 18-year-old. So we were talking, he had his first day on the glass and cleaning windows.
Oh, nice.
And we were talking about his hourly wage. And, Rich Dad, or Robert Kiyosaki works for his best friend's dad, and he's making cents.
Right.
And I think 3 weeks goes by, and he finally said, "What am I doing?" And he goes to him, and his friend's dad said, "Well, I was waiting for you to do this. Why did it take you so long to realize that you're worth more than 30 cents an hour?"
Right.
So just that conversation that's always in my mind about teaching my kids, what do you want to do, but how can you maximize your dollar per hour so that you can do the things you really want to do?
Yeah, and I think I just kind of felt that internally too. Like I'm worth more than just like an hourly wage. There's more I could be doing in the world for myself, my family, and for other people.
Love that.
So yeah. Cool.
What did you? Let me just ask, and again, you don't have to answer this, but like growing up, did your parents work? What did they do?
Yeah, so my dad was a teacher, so didn't make much money doing that. And then I was the oldest of 6 kids, so my mom was basically had a full-time job.
Yeah.
Taking care of all of us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think too, I love birth order. I think that oldest mentality, like you're being the oldest, you're responsible, you have to take care of others, kind of lends to entrepreneurship as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Business owner.
Yeah, it definitely did. And that's kind of what got me into pools specifically. So like I said, growing up, my dad was a teacher, didn't make a lot of money doing that. So he actually, I guess you kind of call him like a consultant. He would help. Well, first of all, we wanted to have a pool because it's too hot here to survive without a pool. So we couldn't afford, a pool builder. So he figured out how to like just connect with each sub separately and build his own pool.
Build your own pool.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he saved a lot of money doing that. And then people started asking him like how he was able to do that.
Yeah.
So he kind of like would help people build their own pools.
Love that.
And then me and my brother growing up, that's kind of what
Did he get paid to do it?
Yeah. It was just like he should have been paid a lot more, but they would give him like $1,000 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he would just do that on the side, and we would come in, my brother and I would do the startups with him. And that was kind of like what I did growing up to make some extra money on the side. So that was like pretty much my only work experience growing up until when I was in community college. I had hopped around a couple other jobs too. And that was the other thing. I was like, I'm not really good at being an employee. Yeah. That's what I was realizing as well. And so I was like, I need to start a business. And that's all I knew at the time. And I thought I knew a lot about pools just because I had like done that. Turns out I really didn't at the time, but I was like, well, I know something about pools. And I also know that like almost everyone has a pool in their backyard.
Yeah.
How did you discover you didn't know very much?
I decided to work for someone for 6 months just to like, in my mind, like brush up on things, but it was more like, I gotta like really learn this stuff. Cause I didn't want to, offer a service to customers that I couldn't fulfill the way I wanted to. So,
which that's a whole lesson in and of itself of like finding someone that's doing it and doing it well and learning from them, like a mentor or whatever, an apprenticeship. I think that is so undervalued in today's world, but that is so valuable.
Even if it means you don't make very much money while you do it.
Right.
Like you're learning.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And there's a cost of education.
For sure. And it's like, because I could go to school and pay for an education, or I can, even if it's a smaller amount, like I can get paid. And it was motivating making that money, because like this is not just like my hourly wage for the rest of my life. This is like going towards
a step.
Yeah, it's just a step. So
very good.
Yeah, that was kind of like the start of things.
So you worked for a pool guy for 6 months, and then what happened?
So I was just kind of brushing up on everything that I, quote unquote, thought I knew, and just till I felt comfortable, like, okay, I can go in, I can diagnose issues, I can fix someone's pool, turn it around if I need to. And from a very basic level, like at this point, I still didn't know like all the repairs and everything. It was more just like,
you're talking about like pool equipment mostly, right?
Yeah. Can I service a pool? Chemistry? Can I make sure it stays blue, stays clear? If there's algae, can I get rid of it, essentially? And then at the same time, I was getting married and quit that job and started my business. So like I said, in that little bio, I didn't really have much money. So I bought a pole, a net, and a brush.
Where'd you buy them from?
Like Leslie's.
Okay.
Yeah, so like $50 or something for that. And then, so my dad had built all these pools, right, for people in the past. He had a list of probably a couple hundred people he'd worked with over the last like 20 years. And so
your dad's a little bit of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
like,
So
right?
because you asked about that, and I forgot I was going to mention, because growing up they were very encouraging to like go to school, get a job, like this is important, do all this. And then kind of around the same time that I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and started thinking that way, my parents did as well. So now they're like, they've done like a 180 on like their thoughts on like the school program and college and all that.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. But growing up, it was completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad is a business owner now as well. But I don't know,
cool.
at least growing up, we never looked at that as like running a business. It was more just like this little side thing that he did for
In
fun.
what industry is he in?
So he does leadership development.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
love
he was
that.
doing it for a company, for PayPal actually,
Yeah.
and then now he's doing it on his own.
Love
Awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Sorry, where were we?
No, you were just saying
where
you
you bought
got
your
married.
equipment.
Yeah.
Bought the equipment, was getting married, the email list. Yeah, so we had like a couple hundred people. Sent out this email. In my head, I was like, oh, we'll probably get like 50, 100 people wanting to sign up. I got like 2 responses. One was my grandma, one was
Nice.
and one was my future in-laws, and then my parents.
Oh,
so
funny.
those were my 3 pools that
That's awesome.
I got started with, and that was just my little route. And I was like, I'm actually glad that happened, because it was like, okay, I need to like figure out how to make this work.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't too easy.
Right. So
what'd you do?
I was like, well, only thing I knew how to do at the time was knock doors, because I'd done a little bit of that in the past. I was like, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of my time knocking doors, and then the rest of my time I'm just going to like research sales and marketing. Like, how can I figure out how to grow the business?
Love it.
And
we started door knocking as well, so
Nice.
we love that.
Yeah.
That's how we built our business.
Yeah. It's not
It is
all,
like old fashioned,
Right.
but like so effective.
for sure.
And I think people today underestimate the power of door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
And they also don't want the rejection. And I think too, people think, oh my gosh, people are going to be mean and they're going to slam doors in my face. And thankfully here in Arizona, it's actually not really like that. Yeah, of course you'll get that every once in a while.
Right.
For the most part, people are really nice and they actually really respect that hustle.
Yeah,
Especially when it's hot.
especially when it's hot, especially when you're the owner of the business,
Right?
doing it. And
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I just started this business.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the younger you are, I think it helps too.
Yeah.
Because it's a respect thing.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't get much like hate or door slam in my face. And
Good for you.
It's great, because if you can learn how to like door knock, then there's never an excuse to
For
not
sure.
know what to do.
100%.
Like if I don't have work, I can always go knock some doors.
I say that all the time,
Yeah.
Dallin, that if I was desperate for business, 100% I would go knock the doors.
Yeah.
Because it puts you at the right place at the right time in front of people.
Right.
Face
And-
to face.
Yeah, that face-to-face is so powerful. People want to work with people that they can connect with. And I've had it where we've gotten business simply because we showed up at someone's door. And they're like, oh, we tried to sell 6 months ago. We couldn't sell. We pulled it. Yeah, let's give you a try, right?
Exactly.
Or, oh, yeah, I have been needing to clean my pool, right? Like,
Yeah.
And if you're there providing a value and you're not annoying, then people will be totally fine with that.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. So started knocking doors until I could build up like a little bit of a route, and then just again, I didn't have money to like invest into like Facebook ads and Google ads and all this stuff, but I was just
Did you have a brand at that point?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So that was kind of when I was working the other job. That's probably a pretty important part of the story too. And the more I look back, the more I feel like I kind of lucked into the brand and everything that I chose. All I knew is because I started to do research on like pricing and everything, and so I'd kind of call around, and I just noticed like how similar a lot of these companies were with their colors and the names of the businesses. And I would like call a few, and I would forget which ones I'd called and hadn't called, because they all seemed so similar. So I was like, I'm like putting myself in the customer's shoes. If I'm calling, getting quotes, like I need to figure out how to stand out and be a little bit different. And so I was trying to think of something that was like kind of trendy at the time, and something that would pop, and like those big flamingo floats that people have in their pools. We had one in our pool, so I was like, that would be great, and it would allow us to do like pink for a big color, which is a lot different than the blue that you see for most pool companies. So I was like, oh, that could help us stand out. And then looking back, a term that I've heard a lot that I feel like I kind of just lucked into is like brand association, where people are out like having a pool party, they see their flamingo float, and subconsciously they like attach that to us being the ones that have, you know, given them that experience.
Because even when I heard it for the first time, I thought, have I heard of that before?
Yeah.
And I haven't, I'm sure, but
Right.
it's that association.
No, I would get that all the time. Like, oh yeah, like you guys been around for a while, right? Or something like that. It's like, no, it's my third month in
Yeah,
business.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell
That's
them that.
cool.
Right. No,
Oh,
but I would get that all the time, and still to this day, like, oh yeah, I think
cool.
we had you guys.
Do you give the flamingo pool floaties away? as
We
gifts?
have the little mini ones that
That's
we'll give
cool.
out to
I
clients,
love
because they have the ones that you can put your drink
Yeah.
in as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and we'll do
awesome.
giveaways here and there, and we'll typically throw in the
Yeah.
the big flow with it as well. So yeah, I was like, if I'm gonna, and then later on, it's really helped too. Like especially if we're running ads. I don't know if you've noticed, but like if you click on one ad, Facebook will start sending you like multiple ads from similar companies. So if someone's getting 10 ads for pool companies, like I really need to make sure that I'm standing out and being different. And so the bright pink, the pink trucks, the pink flamingos definitely helps us stick out a little bit more on
That's
the
a whole
advertising now as
lesson
well.
in branding, right? Is like being unique, standing out, being consistent. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for sure. So that, I feel like that really helped me as well as I began to just kind of spread the word and get my name out there and just start networking.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the foundation to everything.
So you started with door knocking. What does it look like today? How do you market today?
Yeah, so I'm really big on just being like spread out as much as possible. So that way I'm not relying on just one marketing source, that if something changes, if an algorithm changes, I'm not like losing all my clients from that. So I try to just be
smart.
Try to be as balanced as possible. We've got sales reps now, and so they're the ones kind of doing like the boots on the ground, kind of door knocking, prospecting.
Nice.
Whether it's B2C or B2B.
Yeah.
I'm big on just like networking in general.
Yeah.
Something that we still do to this day, but that really helped me grow in the beginning. I call it just having like power partners or other businesses that share the same target audience as you, that you can just send referrals back and forth. So for me, starting off was like, okay, who knows my clients? Like who's already working with my clients? Who do my clients trust so that they can just send them to me and they're going to want to do business with me right away?
So what types of companies would that be?
So that was what I was trying to figure out. Yeah. So the first thing that came to mind is like a landscaper, because my target audience is like families who are, who own homes, very busy, kids, school, sports, after school activities, and they value their time in doing those things. And so they don't have time to like worry about their pool, right? Typically those people also have a yard, and if they value their time away from cleaning the pool, they probably value it similarly with their yard. So it's like, okay, if I can get a hold of some higher end landscapers and any of their clients that have pools, if they can refer them my way, I can offer them some sort of like incentive to get started. They're already going to like have that trust built in because they trust their landscaper. And so that's kind of one of the things I started doing right at first as well. I just called every landscaper I could find, tried to meet up for lunch with them just to introduce myself. Obviously, most people kind of didn't want to with a 21-year-old kid. But yeah, I got a couple that were like super interested in the idea of it. And I had one, like a couple that all helped, but like one in particular, I offered to clean his pool for free as well.
Nice.
Just so he could like experience it and not feel like he was sending referrals just for like the financial
He has to have that trust.
I think that's like such a key thing. Like when our, so Ian's our real estate photographer, but the photographer that we worked with before Ian, the way he found me was he sent me exterior listing photos of one of my listings for free. And that was his in to connect with me. And I really liked what he did. Yeah. And I think too many people want your business and they ask, they don't give anything.
Exactly.
It's like, no, start by giving something and then the business will come.
Yeah.
So people want to, when you give them something or you show that you're there to support them, there's just something innate in all of us that we naturally want to give back.
For sure.
So I think that's so key that you did that.
Yeah, because that's a big reason. It also helps you just stand out because like a ton of people are asking, right? But if that one person gives, it's like, okay, 100%. This person's different. Yeah. And then it also just gives them the confidence that, okay, not only is this person like giving, but he's giving like a very good service. And I want my clients to experience this as well.
Totally. I love that.
So we had a landscaper that like just multiple accounts a week he was just sending over, and I kind of just like blew up in a couple of months and doubled business within the first like 6 months to a year by doing that. That's amazing. Yeah. Are you still in relationship with this landscaper? No, he ended up selling. Oh, okay. And so now we've got, obviously we do that with a lot of home, like landscaper is our favorite, but a lot of home services, it's a very similar idea. But yeah, I'm big on just like networking, meeting new people. Yeah. And it's just a great way to organically grow the business. I love that. But yeah, so I'm big on, I like to have a balance as well between like paid and organic. Yep. I think they're both important. Yep. So we do a lot of like online presence, SEO, blog posts, social media. I'm really, really big on social media. Who does that for you? Is that something you do? I used to, but now we've got a team handling all that. I'll go out and like record content like once a month, and then they'll just edit it, cut it up, and post it. So do you have like a social media team as well? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so people are like, how are you posting 3 times a day? I'm like, it's not me. I wouldn't have time to do all this now. But yeah, it started off just me, and I had to learn, the ins and outs of social media because on a personal level, like I'm not a big fan of social media.
Yes,
I think it's
I am right
a big
there
waste
with
of
you.
time, but
I am
from
right there with you.
From a business perspective, it's awesome.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Today's episode is sponsored by Eco Roofing. Eco is led by a 3rd-generation Arizona roofer who is also the president of the Arizona Roofing Contractors Association. They offer free estimates and the best warranties in the states for shingle and tile roofs. They love giving back to their community and will always be here to serve you. I say that it's like a necessary evil, right? And with everybody on social media, it's like you have to. If you have a business, you have to be there. And I think any company that, as they get bigger, starts to recognize, like, I need to have somebody that's dedicated to that on my team.
Right.
Because it is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And for people like us that are business owners, we're not thinking of social media postings, right? We're thinking of running our business.
Yep.
So it's huge.
Well, and people say that it's free. It is, but it's not.
Right.
Like there's a cost, right? Either we have to learn how to do it and take the time to do it, or we have to hire somebody to help us do it, right? So it's not free.
Yeah. It's either costing your time or you're paying someone else to do it. But yeah, no, it's a great way. And what I love about social media and quote unquote organic marketing is it's there forever. Like I can put a post up there and pin it, and 2 or 3 years from now, people can still see that, and I could get clients from that. Whereas if I'm running paid ads, like I love that. It's great for scaling. But as soon as I stop giving Facebook my money, the ads go away, and I never get clients from those ads again.
You had said this earlier, which I think is really important, is not just being committed or all in on one platform, right? Because when TikTok, when that whole thing, everybody was freaking out. Some people, that was like their only, and they were freaking out. It's like, oh my gosh, you have no control over this platform, and that's your only source of business. So having a variety of ways that you can get clients and attract clients is really important. What would you say is your mix of, like, where does your business come from?
Social media is a big one. Just like our online presence, so just like reviews and blog posts make us like rank pretty high. We've invested a lot of money into that as well. Facebook ads do pretty good for us. And then just word of mouth, I would say. Yeah, whether it's like our vehicles or customer referrals.
What's your geographical service area? Is it mostly East Valley?
Mostly East Valley. We're in Scottsdale as well, and then parts of Phoenix if it's close enough to our route. Yeah.
And you have vehicles. How many vehicles do you have?
We have 5 vehicles. Okay. Yeah, 5 wrapped.
Okay. How do you go about getting reviews and referrals?
That's a great question. So we have a referral program. I've gone through a couple like iterations of that, and a quick tip is like making it as simple as possible for people to remember. Because we used to have like this like structured and tiered programs, like 1 referral you get this, 2 referrals, 5 referrals you get this, and it was very rewarding, but it was very hard to follow. Like it would be hard for a customer. It was easy for me to remember and my employees remember because we created it, but like for a customer who just like saw that pop up on an email or social media, they're not going to remember that program. Like, oh, I'm on referral number 4. This is what I get next. And it's going to be harder for them to be like motivated and incentivized. Yeah. So we just kind of flipped that and just made it. We just call it like our give 50, get 50. So they get a $50 gift card, and the person they refer gets $50 off their first month of service. So we just try to make it as simple as possible. So it kind of turns our customers like into our salespeople basically. 100%. And if they can remember that, like, oh yeah, I get $50 Amazon gift card for every person I refer. Like that's easy to do.
That's cool.
So you made it easy, and it's also the power of a referral is like the best 100% source of business, right? Because it's someone else vouching for you. Yeah. And we like to call it, and there's a whole book around raving fans, right? You want people that are so in love with what you do that they are compelled to want to go tell others, because that's free marketing. Yeah. And that's like the number one place that people go to for any like business recommendation, right? Is a referral. Like, who have you used? Yeah. It's also a good way to, without actually getting feedback from customers, to know how much they enjoy your service. Yes. And I've been at points in business like, we're not getting as many referrals as we used to, or as I'd like to get. Like, what are we not, like, what's wrong with our service right now that it's not up to the standard that people want to refer us? Are you asking the client that? We do, yeah. But we're really big on getting that feedback from clients. And so after big jobs, we call every client, make sure their experience was, up to what they wanted it to be. And then we spot check like our weekly service clients as well.
But what we've noticed is like people just don't like to be confrontational, so they don't always tell us.
Of
those
course.
things. So giving a referral, not giving a referral is like our best way to know how happy they are with service.
For sure.
Yeah.
They say that somebody that is happy, like the likelihood of them telling, it has to be like amazing for them to want to go out and tell other people about you. If you just meet their expectations, then it's like you're, not that special.
Right.
So kind of being intentional about how can I stand out so that it's like over exceeding their expectations. So they want to tell people. But if they have a bad experience, they will tell a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So it's like tempering that.
It sucks because like you can do a great job as they expected, and then nothing happens with that.
Right.
But then like you miss one thing, and now you got this bad review.
Totally.
But what I've also found is if you do something bad and then you go above and beyond to fix it,
100%.
Then you create like the best
Totally
client. Yeah.
And that's huge too, because we are people, right? We're not perfect. We're gonna mess up. There's gonna be things, but own it. Right. And make it right. And that's huge for people.
Things slip through the cracks for every business. I don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
Right? At some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially as you grow.
Right.
So do you have any special things that you teach your team to help recover from those things?
Yeah, so I'm really big on having SOPs or standing operating procedures. So
are they written out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We have like checklists of what to do, because when it's just me, it's like all in my head and I know what to do.
Sure.
But then as you grow, I learned like, because I had people that I trusted, but was like, oh, you did this differently than I did. And at the end of the day, like the end result is all that matters. But the more you grow, it's like I need to have more control over how these processes are being handled. So basically took everything we do from, getting reviews to onboarding clients to, our sales process. Everything's just in like a checklist SOP. So just including like if we have a customer issue, we have a 5-6 step checklist that we go through. And I've just found like, when you do have, not that we ever want to have a bad experience, but it's like, if you can look at that as an opportunity to wow someone, it really can be great. Like, I mean, just look at everyday experience. Like we go through so many experiences through the day and they all go good, but we don't really think anything about it. But if we had someone mess up and then they go above and beyond, like you're much more likely to write a review or refer them or 100%. Just to use them again, right? So it's like, use that as an opportunity. Don't beat yourself up over the bad experience. Just, fix it.
Do you have an example?
So good.
Well, my example that came to head to my mind was like from a consumer standpoint. So we had a company that we ordered a bunch of shirts from. And in the past, I've ordered shirts from people and they've, sent it to me, no problems. Everything worked out. Didn't write a review or anything for them, but didn't refer them or anything either. Then I had another company that we ordered like a ton of shirts in bulk. We were trying to get them to last for the whole year. And they messed up the phone number on the back of the shirt. They put my personal number instead of the business number that we had on the mock-up.
Oh no.
And so we told him about it and he was like, he felt so bad and he like basically did a rush order and skipped in front of everyone else and ordered a bunch of like Nike shirts to do it on as well.
Nice.
And so not only did he fix it, but he like went above and beyond and then like hand delivered it to me.
Wow.
And I just like immediately wrote a 5-star review and
love that.
Everyone local that needs shirts, I recommend to him now.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's huge, and it started because he made a mistake.
Right. Yeah.
That's like my story that I shared on social media that like people loved. A realtor kept the key out of the lock, didn't put it back in the lockbox.
Before you, yeah.
And so when the next showing went, there was no key in there. Anyways, called that agent. He was like, I'm so sorry. He sent his locksmith over because he didn't know where the key was, had it taken care of. And I went and wrote him a review just as a thank you, right? And then he coincidentally wrote me one. I didn't even ask for it. It was so awesome. So I love that, like, we're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. That's something that we try to have that conversation with our clients when we take a new listing or a new buyer, right? Like things may come up, right? Just let me know. But our heart is to make it right. And at the end of the day, it's how you recover from that. That will make the difference for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So when it comes to cleaning pools, I have a pool and I have some crazy stories. Like, do you have any crazy stories of things that you've dealt with?
Oh man, yeah, so many. I mean, because I'm not out in the pools anymore, so it's from a while ago. But we did have one time, kind of a funny story, I guess, where he said he had a bunch of birds or baby birds fall into his pool.
Oh.
And it was an older man, so he was like freaking out that they're gonna drown. I was like, well, by the time we get over there, like they're gonna drown. And so, but he was insistent, so we went and checked it out. It was a duck, and I don't know if she had just hatched him, but all her baby ducks were just like falling around in the pool, and they couldn't get out. Yeah, they couldn't get out of the pool. They were like just born. Yeah, and so the mama duck's just like swimming in circles around the pool, and they're all just following her. And so we eventually like got one of those big lounge chairs and like put it in the pool as kind of a ramp.
Oh, cute.
And they were all able to get out.
That's so cute.
Did you get that on video?
Yeah, we've actually posted it on social media a couple years ago.
So cute.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you have a pool too.
Yeah.
No crazy stories?
No, I was going to ask something different.
Oh, no, I'll just share mine really quick. It was, we had like big bullfrogs where we live, and we live on a green belt with a view fence. And so we would see these frogs like in our garage, in our backyard, like all over. And one day, you know, my kids go out to go swim, and they're like, there's all this stuff in the pool. And I'm like, what is this? You know, we come out and we're like, what is this? It's like, I have no idea what this is. So crazy. So we call the pool guy. He comes out and he like just cleans it, doesn't like do any like investigating, just cleans it. And later in the day, same thing, something in our pool. We're like, what is this in our pool? And my husband gets home and he pulls up, I don't know what it's called, the little thing where the
skimmer basket?
Yeah, right? Yeah. So he pulls that up. There's 2 huge bullfrogs mating in there, and they were having little tadpole eggs in our pool.
Gosh.
That's crazy.
And it was this like string of like tadpole baby eggs. Disgusting.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That tops.
And the pool guy was like, I've never seen this. I'm like, oh yeah, great.
I wonder if they would have survived in that chlorine. Probably not.
I would hope not. I would really hope we wouldn't have little froggy.
That's hilarious.
Did you drain the pool?
No, because they just took them out, cleaned it, and
Yeah, I wish I was your pool guy when that happened, so I could claim that story as my own experience.
Crazy.
They went to froggy heaven.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad was a pivotal book for you. Any other books that have been helpful for you?
A ton. Yeah, I love just educating myself and learning more just on growing the business side of things.
Yeah.
The E-Myth has been a big one for me.
One.
Yeah, so it's big on just growing, not like turning it into a job for yourself, but actually hiring people to do the other things.
Your SOPs is a good example of that, right?
Yeah. So that was a big one starting off. Traction.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
So that's a really good one, just on like the structure of running and growing a business. Not necessarily business related, but just dealing with like the finances and the mindset when it comes to making money as a business owner. But Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Oh yeah.
Was another good one starting off. Those are some of the big ones like starting off that I read that I feel like kind of laid a good foundation for me. Yeah.
Good.
Well, last question, not really last question, but what would you say are some of like your guiding principles as a business owner that kind of guide how you run your business?
That's a great question. I know we've touched on marketing. That's a big thing for me. So like, I think your brand story is extremely important, especially in today's world with like how big social media is.
For sure.
You want people to like see your brand and understand what you do,
love that,
who you serve, the problem you solve for people, and then the outcome that's provided by that. And I feel like our social media does a pretty good job. And our logo alone, you can kind of see it and get a general idea of what we do. I think people really undervalue the aspect of a good brand.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a local business owner who just sold his business for a lot more than what he probably should have made because of the brand.
100%.
So
that's why one of the reasons why we are so brand centric.
Yeah.
It's like at the center of everything we do.
Yeah, and I think newer business owners are like catching on to that because they're born and raised in kind of this social media environment. But like anyone that's ran a business for a while, if you need like a refresh on your brand, I think it's definitely worth whatever investment that is, so people kind of understand that.
I think way too many business owners just get on clip art and try to come up with some quick logo just to be quick and cheap.
Yep.
And that's a mistake.
Yep. Or now what I'm seeing too is like, and maybe I recognize this because I do utilize AI a lot, but like I see people using these AI logos and it's like so easy to tell that this was like AI generated.
Yeah.
But to like actually spend some time to come up with like a unique logo that represents you and your brand, I think is super valuable.
Speaking of AI, what do you do? Like, how do you use it?
So I'm glad you mentioned that because I did say I like it, but I also have a love-hate relationship with AI.
Yeah.
I think it's great for, like, if I have an idea and I need it to like expand on that idea, it's great for that. Or if I like am just stuck and I need an idea that I can flesh out on my own, like it can help me brainstorm.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of it taking over like customer service.
Yeah.
I always try to put myself in the customer's shoes when I'm trying to decide if I should do something for my business, because I had the opportunity to have like an AI assistant take phone calls for new leads.
Yeah.
And so I just took a step back and was like, okay, I hate every time I try to call someone and I'm trying to talk to a person and 100%. It's just this AI agent.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe one day it'll get to a point where they're so good that it's the same. But as of now, like, it's not a great experience.
Yes.
I got a call the other day from some company, and it was I could tell, but it was very hard to tell. Yeah. I was absolutely impressed. I wasn't interested in the business, so I ended up cutting it down. But I thought, wow, we're getting there.
Yeah, no,
it was crazy.
They probably will get there, but as of now, I think nothing really just beats like that human touch. And as more people start doing that, I think it can really help you stand out by having that that human touch.
Right.
So we invest into a team. I could make a lot more money personally if I was trying to take every call, or if I had an AI agent take those calls. But I invest into people who excel when it comes to customer service, so that we can handle those situations. So
love that.
But yeah, I mean, AI is definitely helpful when it comes to just like ideas. I feel like
So you mentioned employees. Where do you find your guys and girls? Like, what's your process there?
Yeah, so I think there's a ton of different ways to find people. I mean, Indeed is a great way to get started. Post an ad, see who responds to it. I'm always looking on like social media as well. So like we'll post on it. I'll post in different Facebook groups trying to find certain people. As our team has started to grow, I've been really big on like trying to hire from within, like, hey, who is your friend or your family member that wants to, that needs a job? And if you have a good culture and you get your team to buy in, then they're doing that outreach for you and finding people. And we've had a lot of success we've had people bring in friends or cousins, or we have someone that brought in like a sister and parents and
because
a fiance.
They know they're going to be a good fit.
Exactly. And they're like, hey, we love it here, we love the culture, and then it just helps with retention as well.
For sure.
It really does become like a family.
If you make them part of it, then they want to pick the people they get to work with.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, and so they love that aspect of it too.
Well, what question didn't we ask you that we should have asked you?
That's a good question. It's a great question.
Maybe how can people reach you?
Yeah. What I was also going to say is just kind of like where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Because I have grown out the team to a point where, and for me, the goal of business is to be able to do the things that you love to do. Kind of goes back to that freedom of like doing what I want, where I want, when I want, right? And so, as you've kind of heard from this conversation, like marketing is my passion. So I love spending as much time as possible, like on the idea side of things and the marketing and brainstorming ideas like that. And then I've really just kind of put people in positions to grow and succeed in what they strive at in different aspects of the business. So I've loved being able to do that and just create, more time to spend with family or like we mentioned at the very beginning, like I love working with other newer business owners, providing tips, insights on how they can grow their business as well. So that's been really exciting and rewarding for me these last couple of years to kind of be in that spot. And then where you can find me, we're on all social media, Flamingo Pools, pretty easy to find us, hard to miss. Awesome. You can see our trucks, our pink wrap trucks on the road as well. And I love connecting, whether you're a homeowner looking for pool service or another business owner, trying to connect, trying to grow, reach out to me. Love having conversations, love doing any sort of networking, meeting up like this. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being with us. We'd love to end with a little speed round. Are you up for our rapid fire questions?
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Okay, we'll start easy. Okay. Do you have a favorite color?
That was the first one.
Teal.
Teal,
yeah. So that's why I kind of combined the pink and teal for the logo.
Yeah. What about a favorite food?
Favorite food? Gosh, I love all food. I'll say anything on the smoker, on the Traeger.
Oh yeah, so good.
Smoked meat, ribeye. I'll go reverse seared ribeye.
Nice. Okay, what about a favorite drink?
Favorite drink? I'm not a big soda guy. I'd just say coconut water.
Coconut water. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about a favorite sound?
Ooh, favorite sound. That's probably just waves on the beach.
Oh yeah. So good. We talked a lot about books. Do you have like one favorite book?
Probably be cheating to say Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's because we already talked about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I'm trying to think of that probably is my favorite book though, that I've read.
What about a favorite podcast? Do you like podcasts?
Favorite podcast? What's the name of this podcast?
Do you listen to podcasts?
I do. Yeah, I don't listen to as many business podcasts anymore. Just because I feel like I'm starting to hear kind of the same things over and over again. I love sports, so I love listening to any like sports related podcasts. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Do you have a favorite vacation?
Favorite vacation, like a place that I've been to? Yeah, New Zealand. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my wife and I went like right before COVID. We went for like 3 weeks.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your story
Thank you guys
and
for
all
having
those
me.
tips. And I think whoever listens to this episode could totally take away something, whether it's a book that they're going to go read, a practice that they're going to implement in their business. That's awesome. And even maybe just being inspired by hearing what you've done. So good for you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Real Deal podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow us on social media at the Home Selling Team AZ.